Welcome, Australian business owners and C-level executives. You've tuned into the Deep Dive. I'm Lex, your host, ready to unpack some really critical insights for your business today.
And I'm Vera, glad to be here to help connect the dots, give you that strategic context behind today's topic.
Absolutely. And today, we are diving headfirst into something that, well, it directly impacts your bottom line. Australian payment gateways. PayPal versus Stripe in 2025. This isn't just about picking a tool off the shelf. It's genuinely a strategic decision. I mean, think about it. The Australian e-commerce market, it's projected to soar past $80 billion by the end of 2026.
80 billion, wow.
Yeah, huge growth, driven by online and cross-border trade. So your choice of payment gateway, it can make a profound difference to profitability.
It really can. And it's not just a technical choice anymore, is it? Especially not in 2025. We're seeing these, subtle fee adjustments, evolving regulations. It demands a strategic approach.
Right, not just surface level stuff.
Exactly. You need a deeper understanding.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Quick snapshot of our two heavyweights. First, PayPal. Founded way back in '98, right?
That's right, a real veteran.
A household name. Over 400 million global users. Here in Australia, it processes, over $30 billion in transactions yearly. Known for being user-friendly, loads of consumer trust built up.
And that longevity, that widespread adoption, it makes PayPal a strong contender, especially if you prioritize sort of immediate trust and an easy start.
Okay, and the other corner?
Then you've got Stripe, founded 2010, so much younger.
Relatively, yeah.
But it's grown incredibly fast, supports over 100 currencies. It's become a real favorite among tech-savvy businesses, mainly for its developer-friendly APIs. It powers huge platforms like Shopify, WooCommerce.
We see it everywhere.
You do. And in Australia alone, Stripe's adoption has spiked by, get this, 25% year on year.
25%. That's massive growth. Now, here's where 2025 adds, new layers of complexity. We're talking evolving regulations, like the Treasury Laws Amendment Bill on payment system modernization, the RBA's review of merchant card costs, maybe even a debit surcharge ban by 2026.
That's definitely on the cards.
Plus, the ACCC is getting tougher on excessive surcharging.
Yeah, they're actively enforcing that. And all these changes, they translate directly into enhanced compliance requirements for businesses.
Yeah.
It influences your integration costs, too. You can't ignore it.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? Throughout this deep dive, we're going to get really comprehensive. We'll cover those key regulatory shifts shaping things in 2025.
Yeah.
We'll dissect a detailed Aussie-specific fee comparison, PayPal versus Stripe, including volume discounts.
Social point.
And we'll look beyond the fees, too. Things like integration quality, card abandonment, fraud prevention. And finally, we'll talk about why a discovery process is so vital.
Indispensable, really.
To avoid costly pitfalls. And the dangers of just grabbing, indicative pricing for integration projects.
Our goal for you listening is clear. We want to equip you with the knowledge to make a genuinely informed decision, one that aligns perfectly with your business goals and lets you leverage your chosen gateway for, maximum efficiency and profit.
Right. Let's jump into our first segment then, the evolving regulatory landscape in 2025. What are the major shifts Australian businesses really need to be aware of right now?
Okay, so the Australian payments sector is undergoing this profound modernization. A really big shift is function-based licensing.
Function-based. How does that differ?
Well, it moves oversight from being based on the entity, like, are you a bank, to being based on the activity. So regulation focuses on what services you provide in payments, not just who you are.
Ah, okay. So if you offer, say, a new digital wallet, even if you're not a traditional bank.
Exactly. You'll likely face specific regulations based on that activity. It catches newer players and models.
That sounds like a pretty significant shift for providers.
Yeah.
What else is the RBA looking at?
Then we've got the new BNPL regulations, Buy Now, Pay Later, effective June 2025. These will hold providers to more credit-like standards. Big impact on consumer protections there.
Right. BNPL's been a bit of a Wild West.
It has. And the RBA is also actively reviewing merchant card payment costs. They're aiming for much greater transparency in surcharging. And there's that strong prediction of a debit surcharge ban by 2026.
A ban? Right.
And don't forget the ACCC. They're actively enforcing against excessive surcharging, demanding transparent fee pass-throughs. Get it wrong, and non-compliance could mean fines.
Up to $50,000 per breach.
$50,000 per breach. That's serious. How do these changes hit businesses using PayPal or Stripe specifically?
It means enhanced compliance requirements right across the board. For example, businesses might need to handle something called bundled consumer consents much more explicitly in their apps.
Bundled consents, meaning users need to clearly agree to how their data and various payment options are handled together within an app. More transparency, more control for the customer. These compliance demands, plus needing things like automated GST handling, PCI DSS compliance, it all influences integration costs.
So you have to factor it in.
You absolutely have to factor these regulatory things into your strategy. It directly affects how efficiently and compliantly your gateway actually operates.
It's clear the legal side is just as vital as the numbers. Which brings us perfectly to our next segment. PayPal versus Stripe, the 2025 fee showdown. This is the core comparison, right?
This is what everyone asks, yeah.
Which gateway saves Aussie businesses more cash in 2025? Let's start with PayPal's fees. Break it down for us.
Okay, PayPal. Your standard domestic commercial transaction fee is 2.90% plus $8.30. Pretty straightforward.
2.9 plus 30 cents. Got it.
Then there are micropayments. If you get approved for these, typically for transactions under $10, the rate shifts to 5.00% plus $8.05 domestically.
Higher percentage, lower fixed fee. Interesting. International.
For international transactions, you take the base domestic rate, add a 1.00% international fee. So that's 3.90% plus $0.30 total, plus an extra 3.0% for currency conversion.
Oof. Currency conversion always stings.
It adds up. They do offer a good charity rate, though, 1.90% plus $0.30, and volume discounts. Well, they don't explicitly advertise broad ones, but if you're doing over $10,000 a month, you might be able to negotiate. Maybe get down to around 2.60%.
Might. Okay, quite a few variables there. Now, let's look at Stripe's equivalent for 2025. How do they stack up?
Stripe's structure is often seen as, well, quite appealing, especially domestically. For domestic online transactions, it's 1.7% plus $8.30, and that includes GST.
1.7 plus 30 cents. Noticeably lower than PayPal's base.
It is. Their domestic in-person rate is similar, 1.7% plus $8.30, a bit cheaper on the fixed part for tap and go.
Okay, international.
International on Stripe is 3.5% plus $8.30, plus a 2% currency conversion fee.
So slightly lower percentage than PayPal overall, but a lower currency conversion fee too.
Correct. 2% versus PayPal's 3%. And where Stripe often really shines is volume discounts. If you're doing over $1 million annually, they offer custom pricing. Tailored rates can bring domestic down to maybe 1.5%, international down to 3.0%, often with multi-product discounts bundled into.
Right, so real potential savings for bigger players. These percentages are useful, but can you give us some concrete Aussie SMB examples? Make it real.
Absolutely. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a Brisbane cafe chain. They sell $50 coffee subscriptions locally. Say they do 700 domestic transactions a month. That's $35,000 total volume.
Okay, typical local business.
With PayPal, based on the standard 2.9% plus 30C, their fees would be around $12,225. That's an effective rate of 3.5% once you add the fixed fee impact.
Right.
With Stripe, at 1.7% plus 30C, those fees drop to $805, an effective rate of 2.3%.
So the difference is?
Stripe saves them $420 per month. That's over $5,000 a year. $5,000, that's significant for a local cafe chain.
It really is. Okay, what about international? You mentioned Australia's booming export market.
Good question. Let's take a Perth wine exporter. Selling $100 bottles to the U.S. Maybe 300 transactions a month, comes to around $45,000 AUD total value.
Okay, cross-border sales.
With PayPal's international rates, 3.9% plus 30C plus 3% conversion, the fees would hit about $3,195. That's a hefty effective rate of 7.1%.
Wow, over 7%.
Yeah. Stripe, in this case, 3.5% plus 30C plus 2% conversion, comes in at $2,565, an effective rate of 5.70%.
Still significant fees, but lower.
Definitely lower. Stripe saves this exporter $630 a month. That's over $7,500 annually. Again, real money back in their pocket.
These savings really do add up fast. And what about those volume discounts for businesses really scaling up?
Let's take a growing Adelaide wholesaler doing $82 million a year in volume. On PayPal, even if they negotiated down slightly, let's say average 2.9% still. That's around $58,000 in fees.
58 grand. Ouch.
But with Stripe's volume discounts kicking in above $1, their fees could realistically be between $34,000 and $40,000.
So potential savings.
Savings of $18,000 to $24,000 annually. Just from negotiating those volume rates with Stripe, that's huge for a growing wholesaler.
Truly compelling savings, especially for growth-focused businesses.
Yeah.
But beyond these transaction fees, are there other sort of hidden costs, things to watch out for?
Definitely. Chargebacks are a big one, a common headache.
Ah, yes, the dreaded chargebacks.
Both PayPal and Stripe usually charge between a $20 and a $25 for each one you receive. It's pretty standard. However, Stripe offers a tool called Radar.
Radar.
Yeah, it's their fraud prevention tool. It costs a little extra, like $0.02 per transaction, but it's incredibly effective. It can prevent up to 50% of disputes before they happen, saving you not just the fee, but all the admin hassle, too.
So a small cost for potentially big savings and less stress. That's a great point about chargebacks. It really highlights that quantifiable fees. They're only part of the picture.
Exactly.
You often stress that integration quality is paramount. How does that impact the long-term ROI beyond just the raw fee percentages?
This is so critical, and honestly, it's often overlooked. The quality of your payment gateway integration. It profoundly determines your long-term return. A seemingly small flaw can have these, cascading negative effects on your bottom line, even on your compliance.
Can you give us some examples? How does poor integration actually hurt a business day to day?
Sure. Firstly, cart abandonment.
Yeah.
We've seen stats where poorly implemented payment setups lead to as much as a 20% increase in people ditching their carts. That's just lost sales, straight up.
20%, just from a clunky checkout.
It happens. Secondly, compliance issues. If your integration doesn't handle things like surcharging transparency correctly, you risk falling foul of Australian consumer law or these new 2025 rules. We mentioned those ACCC fines, up to $50 for non-transparent surcharging. Often that's an integration failure.
Right, the system isn't doing what the law requires.
Precisely. Thirdly, operational inefficiency. Maybe your off-the-shelf plugin doesn't talk nicely to your old legacy database, or you're stuck doing manual GST reporting because the integration doesn't automate it. Creates extra work, slows everything down.
Headaches all around.
And finally, back to fraud prevention. A good custom integration lets you properly use tools like Stripe's Radar. You can significantly cut down chargebacks, saving those $25 fees, plus the time.
So it's not just about making it work, but making it work right. Optimize for your business. What are the specific integration strengths? PayPal versus Stripe.
Well, PayPal often excels for simpler plug-and-play setups, especially with platforms like WooCommerce or Shopify. It supports loads of payment methods, over 25, making it pretty user-friendly for a quick start.
Easy setup is appealing.
It is. Stripe, on the other hand, is really renowned for its robust APIs. This allows for incredibly custom checkouts, complex things like split payments, adaptive 3D secure. It's ideal for more complex apps like subscription services or platforms needing really tailored payment flows.
More flexibility, but maybe more complex to set up.
Potentially, yes. But what often stands out is how custom development, like the kind C9 offers, can truly transform your payment gateway. It stops being just a cost center, it becomes a strategic asset. You can build in features like real-time fee analytics, automated refunds, even optimized routing to send payments down the cheapest path. That alone can add another 10–15% in savings.
Wow. Turning a cost into an asset, that's powerful. And it leads us perfectly to our next bit. The indispensable role of discovery. Why is a proper discovery process so critical before you even start integrating?
I really can't stress this enough. A thorough discovery phase it's indispensable. Skipping it, honestly, it's a recipe for disaster. We often see businesses facing 30, even 50% budget overruns. Why? Mismatched integrations. It's a huge avoidable drain.
30 to 50% overruns, just from skipping the planning. That's shocking. What specifically do these discovery calls uncover or prevent?
Okay, several things. First, they're essential for uncovering hidden requirements. Every business is unique. Maybe you have a specific mix of international transactions, or you need to connect to an old Oracle database. Generic solutions miss this stuff.
Right, the stuff that isn't obvious at first glance.
Exactly. Second, they ensure compliance. A good discovery process checks your plan against those 2025 rules, function-based licensing, BNPL changes. It mitigates regulatory risk up front. Third, it helps align with your growth path. Is this solution just for today, or will it scale with you? Discovery tackles that.
Future-proofing.
Critical, and crucially, Discovery prevents costly rework and delays. Those integration hiccups. They cost Aussie firms an average of $15,000 per incident. Proper discovery leads to, on average, 25% faster delivery and 20% cost reductions because you avoid those mistakes.
That's a clear ROI just on the planning phase itself. So a good discovery involves understanding systems, modeling scenarios, mapping solutions, providing a clear plan.
Exactly. It's structured, like the process C9 uses. preparation, a deep dive session, maybe using simulators for 2025 scenarios, value mapping, then clear next steps with a custom playbook, no obligation. This kind of approach, it often leads to projects coming in under budget with early ROI funding later phases.
That sounds incredibly thorough. Now, let's talk about something I know you feel strongly about. This pricing trap of indicative quotes. What are the real dangers when businesses rely on those vague ballpark figures for integration projects?
Indicative pricing. Look, it's often basically worthless. It's a significant trap. When a developer gives you a range like, oh, somewhere between $20,000 and $50,000 without really digging into your specific needs, you're building on sand.
Worthless is strong. Why is it such a problem?
Because it's riddled with pitfalls. First, massive underestimation of scope. These quotes are based on averages, right? They completely ignore your unique setup, maybe complex international compliance needs, specific API tweaks. That often adds 20–30% to the cost mid-project. Surprise.
Scope creep, the classic killer.
Totally. Second, inflexibility. You get locked into this rigid scope that can't adapt. What if regulations change mid-project or your business needs evolve? Too bad. Third, hidden ROI blind spots. Indicative quotes don't give you phase breakdowns. You miss seeing early wins like immediate fee savings from phase 1 that could actually help fund phase 2.
No visibility on value delivery.
None. And finally, it just erodes trust. Costs balloon, deadlines slip, relationships sour, projects get delayed by months. It's painful.
So it affects the whole project, not just the budget. How does discovery-based pricing compare? How is it different from that indicative mess?
Oh, it's night and day. Discovery-based pricing is precise. It's phased, broken down often to days or weeks. Every deliverable is tied directly to a clear, measurable return on investment. It's all about clarity, strategy, partnership.
Can you give an example?
Sure, think about that exporter again. Complex international sales, maybe 2,000 transactions a month, 60% international using Shopify, plus an old Oracle database. A competitor might give an indicative quote, say $30K, $60K? Looks okay, maybe.
Tempting, perhaps.
But then they hit unexpected Oracle integration issues. New compliance checks for the U.S. market. Suddenly costs balloon past $50,000. Projects delayed months, no early fee savings realized. Compare that to a discovery-based approach, like C9's. They'd identify the Oracle challenge upfront, map out phase 1 for basic integration and fee optimization, delivering ROI quickly, phase 2 for advanced reporting. You get phased value, predictability, and likely net savings overall. It's just a smarter way.
That clarity makes a huge difference. Okay, we have covered a lot today. Let's try and recap. What's the final recommendation for Australian businesses facing this PayPal versus Stripe decision in 2025?
Well, the honest truth is, there's no single winner. It hinges entirely on your specific business profile. PayPal, with its simple rates, the micropayment option, those charity rates, it's often a really good fit for, let's call them, bootstrap local businesses. Smaller outfits, simpler needs.
Straightforward start. And for those aiming higher, the scalers.
For the scalers, yeah. Businesses with higher volumes, significant international sales, maybe complex hybrid models. Stripe typically offers more advantages. Those lower domestic fees, better international efficiency, the powerful volume discounts. It really helps fuel growth.
So it's definitely not one size fits all. It demands an informed, tailored choice. What's the absolute biggest takeaway for our listeners, considering all these regulations and fee details?
The number one takeaway has to be this. Informed decision-making and proper integration are paramount. Crucial. With Australia's payments landscape modernizing so fast, just picking a gateway, that's not enough anymore. You have to actively leverage it.
Right, make it work for you.
Exactly. Turn your payment gateway from just a passive tool, maybe even a cost center, into an active driver of efficiency, compliance, and ultimately profit.
And if that resonates, if you're thinking, okay, I need help tailoring my payment ecosystem, this is where specialized expertise comes in. You should consider reaching out to C9. They're Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database development company.
Absolutely. And we strongly invite you, our listeners, to schedule a free 45-minute discovery call with C9's experts. It's genuinely free, no obligation. They'll look at your specific transaction data, recommend the ideal gateway for you, and map out a phased, custom integration plan tailored precisely to your business needs and goals.
It's a really valuable session. You can find C9 and book that crucial discovery call right now at www.c9.com.au. That's c9.com, soarsnight.au. Honestly, investing 45 minutes could save you thousands, maybe tens of thousands down the line.
It really could. And while you're thinking about it, please click that follow button wherever you're listening and share this deep dive. Share it with other Australian business owners, C-level execs, anyone who could benefit from getting across this stuff.
Definitely. Okay, as we wrap up, leave our listeners with one final provocative thought to chew on.
Okay, here it is. In this world of rapidly evolving payment systems, the critical question isn't just how do I minimize my fees? It's becoming how do I transform my entire payment ecosystem from a necessary cost into a strategic asset that actively drives growth and ensures compliance. So ask yourself, what hidden opportunities, what untapped potential is waiting inside your current payment stack right now?